a couple of months ago, and it's Core Masters Group. And it's funny because Melissa and Dan were talking about core, and actually our name is Core Masters Group. And the reason why we have that, we believe in a holistic way of doing business. We actually help business owners and leaders navigate chaos. So when they have misalignment in terms of their strategy, um, relations and also finance, we help them, gain clarity and hopefully gain that confidence and authority and give them direction. So I just have to say that core, CORE for us is mind, body, heart, and spirit, which is cognize, optimize resources, relational, trust dynamics, and also elevate, which is for leadership. So I'm happy to be here. And then I'm also curious of what you have to offer and what I can offer to the group as well. So thank you.
Well, thank you for that, Maria. And it's interesting because I've been in business since I was 16. I'm 51. So I think that gives me 35 years of experience. Let me just close my Outlook or we can keep going ding, ding, ding in the background here. Right, there we go. So, and I always find I personally like starting new projects. I find when I do something for long enough, too long, I get a little bored, it gets a little rusty. And I think 2026 is the year for new projects. It seems to be, from what I can tell, so many people are starting something new. And I think what we're all understanding is the world has changed. It's not the world we grew up in. I don't know how old you are, but I'm guessing we're not too dissimilar in age. Obviously, the ladies are obviously 22. And, I just turned 26 again. I'm on my second lap, right, at 26. So, I always tell my kids I'm 26 squared. And they're like, what? So for me, I decided, I've been running Saks and Spencer Capital for since 2016, so exactly 10 years. And what I realized is something important, that although I had a great run and business has done really well, the economy, the environment, the mindset, the politics, the infrastructure around everything that all of you guys just spoke about has changed. AI has changed. The way we get our data has changed. The way we interact with people has changed. Personalities have changed. Mindsets have changed. And it makes it confusing because how do we, since we're all not like, we're not teenagers here, we're not in our 20s here, how do we, as our generation, go into 2026, going into 2030, with the world being a completely different place to anywhere that we understand? Example, I have friends that are studying AI. I personally am a bit of when it comes to anything technological, I'm a bit retarded. So, when it comes to trying to figure out how to work the DVD player, I'm not your guy. But when it comes to understanding people, understanding mindsets, that I get very, very well. And I wrote down a few topics that I wanted to speak about today, and I'll tell you what I wanted to talk about new projects, which I think applies to everybody here. I wanted to talk about blockchain because we can't ignore it any longer. And I wanted to talk about the economy because it's something we have to address. These things affect every new startup. So I'm going to take the lead and I'm going to start talking about new projects. So I myself, my Adam Cohen Today brand, I've had it for about 10 years, but I've never really done anything with it. It was always just kind of a gimmick. I saw it, I liked it, I kind of rolled with it. Now I've decided I'm going to make it my recognizable household brand. I'm launching a new company called Smash Mortgage, and instead of doing all commercial, hey, there's Mehedi and Mehedi. Two Mehedi. Same Mehedi, right? Just different screen. I'm launching Smash Mortgage, and I'm doing it in a way that's very different to the way I've ever launched a mortgage company in the past. Plus, we're launching a fund, which ties into the blockchain. I'll come back to that in a little bit. But for many of us, I always just say, what are the fundamentals? Like, for the last 20 years or more, we've looked at, if we come up with a company name, is the name available online? Is the .com available? Does it roll off the tongue nicely? Is it long or short? Because shorter names are always more successful. And yeah, I went with Adam Cohen today. But what is our price point? What is demand? Where do we make money? How do we meet our clients? What services are we providing? And how is this going to help people? How, if we don't enjoy it, there's no point. It's going to be something that's interesting, or it's the most boring job in the world, and it's going to be successful for us. So I'm going to start with Melissa, and let you chime in about how you think that applies to you.
Yeah, so it's interesting that that's the first place that you went because I think that from our perspective, obviously it matters what part of the world we're in, but things are changing rapidly. And so, as far as launching, as far as coming up with a new business, what is that, right? And how are we going to make it work in the economy right now? And one of the things that I've discovered in the last year, because I mean, I've been in sales for 35 plus years of my life. And so, from that aspect of going, okay, we can just sell anything and we can go ahead and launch it and we can make this successful, even that has changed. So it's more of an offering and how can we offer something that is and has not been seen before in this world, right? And so at the core, I think all of us want to be in service of people and humanity at the deepest level. And so for me in the launching of the new business and what to do with it and real estate and smash mortgage. I mean, okay, so you're talking, okay, I was in real estate for quite a while and the housing market, depending on where we are, like how do we uh, conduct the convergence of all of these different systems in order for us to help make communities successful. So one of the things that I discovered is that as far as mental health goes, like what is the major social call? And for me, mental health was that call. And just from the lived experience that we all get to endure in this life, what we get to go through to get to here, um, it took a while to be revealed as to how this can all come together, but we are at a convergence point in history, I feel, that has never been seen before. And so those who are in service and want to be in service of humanity, and yes, obviously we all have to make money, we all have to live, we all have to do all of that, but how can we um, go about it in a way that has never been seen, basically. So what I did was is we discovered this, I discovered these convergent points as to how to correlate different systems and bring different systems together. It's almost like the hub, like you are for this networking event, right? So we're a hub. So how can we bring these different systems together? And this may apply more to a fund, I'm not sure, but in order to be that cog to allow it to turn in a way that the world has never seen before. So with that, the data and the convergence of the data from the different aspects of how we view information for people. And I'm not technical. I have been an acting CEO for a couple of different tech companies. And at the same time, I think that the creativity behind the technical aspect, a lot of it gets left out because the actual vision for what needs to come through is sometimes not articulated. So, anyways, I feel like I'm rambling at this point, but I feel like the hub access for new projects can be all part of a fund, and that is how we are going to be able to bring these convergent systems together in order to change humanity. And at the forefront for what we're doing, it's mental health and how can we impact communities in a way that is very unconventional. We go upstream, we swim against the grain, rather than going with the grain of something that has failed, that has kept individuals and businesses and everything else stuck for the duration of this lifetime. So I'll pause there.
Okay,
Thanks for letting me. Yeah.
no, that's good. You brought up some interesting points, and we had a few people join us. We have Enrique and Raymond joined us, and we will get to you guys in a second to introduce yourselves. Let's just finish this circle of question now. Dan, your consensus.
And I share a lot of insights that Melissa sees, but I was thinking about you and what you're doing. It's interesting because I have a real estate background, a finance background. So the question that I always ask myself when I'm looking at funds or people who are raising money, putting capital together is like, how do you differentiate yourself, especially moving into the future as AI adapts and makes automation so much easier? And that's one of the reasons why, again, I like real estate, but being in the service of it, ultimately a lot of it becomes automated through AI. And so, what kind of products, programs, and processes do you have in place to make it very simple so that it does make worth still being involved in it. And that's what's always been interesting to me as I kind of shift in what we're doing. And again, going back to the unconventional thought process, like how does Smash Mortgage, how does any of us do anything moving forward when we see the systems as they are going to shift very quickly underneath our feet and have the ability to see and have the vision to move through that so that we're not fixed on one point or one thought being the only way. And so that's, I guess, it all goes back to like, what are the differentiators? Because so many options out there as this stuff continues to evolve.
All right, well, I'll answer your questions on that. And I'll refer to Smash Mortgage as it is something that we're working on. So I started my
Mhm.
first mortgage company when I was, I'm going to give away my age again. Let me see, I was about 20 years old. All right. So let's
Mhm.
just say the world has changed significantly. And yet the irony was when I first started, my first mortgage company was actually called Mortgage Impossible. Because it's kind of funny, I had actually arranged for the first Mission Impossible movie was filmed in London. And the
Yep.
apartment that they used in London, I actually arranged that. All right. So it happened by accident. I used to have a retail office, estate agency, they called in England. And the director just walked in for the front door and asked me, "Hey, you got any locations?" And it was a difficult one to negotiate, but we did it. So that was how Mortgage Impossible started, way back when. And there's a reason why I'm telling you that. My sister Fiona just joined. So hi, Fiona. You know, so shout out for Fee. We won't argue about noses today. So anyway, Fiona, you're on mute, by the way. So for me, starting a new company in this day and age is kind of weird because I'm going back to where I started. Like I used to work with the self-employed, distress, reorganization market. And for the past 10, 15 years, maybe 20 years even, I've really focused on commercial. But if anyone knows anything about the commercial market right now, the banks aren't lending, those like retail is dying, office is dying, and a lot of office buildings are looking at being repurposed to hospitality, residential. So we're going to see a major change in the commercial market. But being in the commercial lending space, I've noticed my business has just gone down like this, a straight line, and it's been steady and it's been consistent. Which, on the one hand, I've enjoyed more time with my kids. On the other hand, I enjoy making money, right? So I'm kind of going back to where we originally were, going back to the residential market, sticking primarily with investor as opposed to consumer. But going back to the consumer, now we're offering self-employed because a lot of people today want to borrow. The banks aren't really lending to self-employed, and it's becoming a little confusing for them. So we're offering a self-employed, a foreign national, and a fully licensed operation. So for us, I'm kind of going back to where with Smash Mortgage with what I started with. We're also going to be doing fix and flips, but a lot of it is about education. People don't necessarily know how to do these loans. They think they can't afford it. It's about comfort. People get nervous. They talk to like a commercial. You walk into Bank of America, it doesn't feel very friendly. And it's when I came up with the idea of Smash Mortgage, I wanted to stay away from the AI. I wanted to make it easy to use, easy to navigate, simple, and keep it more human because so many companies now are switching to that. What is your name? Repeat. And it's getting very annoying. And even doing everything online, there's no human element. And when you're looking to borrow money, people get nervous. So people want to have someone to talk to. So the biggest thing for me when I launch Smash, which I'm actually going to be doing in the next few weeks, is I won't be involved in running the business anymore. I'm taking a huge step back from that. I'm letting other people run the business, but I'm still the owner. I'm still want to know what's going on. But my goal is to reach out to the people, reach out to the public, make it fun, make it a little sexy, make it interesting, and not so much to compete with AI or to compete with other companies, but to keep it. And this is important for everyone that already spoke. We'll invite everyone else in a moment. All right, is to make it fun because people are tired of as we say in London, the whistle and flute, the shirt and tie. All right, they're tired of the formality. They want to speak to someone they feel comfortable with. They want to speak to someone that they trust. And I think very much to do with real estate and finance is I hate when I talk to brokers and they just send me a listing on the MLS and they've done nothing else. I won't work with that person. I'm going to work with the person that showed me they spent the time to understand my needs, to find solutions to problems, to explain them to me, and come up with what I want. So I'm really focusing on that with Smash. But obviously, we will have some AI behind it because in this day and age, we 100% we will fail without it. But that's the website, the inputting. I want to make it user friendly on the phone, which today is something that's essential. So it's all about, and I think this applies to everyone who spoke, creating a demand, right? Pricing it right, making it accessible, making it usable, and spreading the word. That's kind of me business one-on-one. But some people need to be told that. Some people just get it. Other people, but I think a lot of we have to mix those old ideas with the new ideas and just make them work. And like everyone here is in a slightly different field, so that would apply differently to everyone. Maria, we'll let you speak next, and then we'll introduce Raymond, Fiona, and Will. If you're on, there we go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just want to add because a couple of things that you guys mentioned is about differentiation and the humanness factor. I mean, when we started this project, we actually pivoted to more of advisory and education because we do value education too. And it's not much about being so different. I think one of the things that we were talking about is more of the foundational values that we need to remember. People are just so fearsome about AI and technology, right? But technology actually it's just a tool for us to expedite things. So the basis still is the human factor. So the focus of what we do is, as I believe Adam and Melissa and Dan, it's also about putting the human touch to things because the research that we've put together too is that, and I do believe that you all agree, is one of the concerns of people nowadays is trust. There's so many people questioning about because there's a lot of companies, as we would say, that's coming up. There's a lot of AI. There's a lot of, again, and in line with the AI is cyber attacks. So people are scared of it. So I agree with you, Adam, that they would say you have to have somebody that they can reach out to, a human person that they can talk to, especially when it comes to finance, especially when it comes to their direction in their lives. They need somebody that they can count on. So that is what that is our foundational structure. We're our pillars when we conduct business and when we engage with our clients. And I believe again, as you mentioned, Adam, too, we're all in a different sector, right? You're in mortgage and things like that, but we all have the same mindset, so to speak, that we want to serve, as Melissa said earlier, is we want to serve, we want to make things better for people. And for us too, one critical thing that we want to educate business leaders, and we also have education for youth. Our youth, the high schoolers, and at the same time for young adults, is about metacognition. It's for us to be aware of how we think and how we process. Because when we are aware, self-aware, we can make better decisions. And we do that when we become better leaders because of awareness. So that's one of the things that we focus on.
Thank you for that, Maria. And I agree with everything you just said. We had a few new people join us. So why don't we'll introduce Raymond, we'll introduce Will, and then we'll introduce Fiona. So Raymond, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and obviously thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Raymond Portales. I'm a mortgage originator, broker slash banker. I don't know, whatever, all the above. Worked a lot in the retail sector, and I have recently made the switch over. And you're talking about I've been in the business a while too, and it was about creating a back and forth back in the day, and spending a little bit of time with your people. However, in the retail sector, and all the three big ones, I've worked for all three of them. They're all about pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, and it's just you really don't develop much of a relationship, or there's no real connection when you're just strictly numbers and quoting what your product does. In the sector I'm in now, it is a little easier. There's less pressure, much easier to develop relationships, connection with people, and spending a little more time with them. I know they appreciate it. I know they appreciate it because they've told me that before, plenty of times. And as far as the AI, it's just a fact of life, and learning to embrace it, use it, appreciate it as a tool, like Maria mentioned. That's been my big. I use it all the time for various things, but having a good time doing it, always enjoying what I'm doing, connecting with people, and appreciate being having the opportunity to come and talk with people. But I think it's all the same. No matter what you're selling, whatever you're representing, making that connection with people really is the most important thing. So.
All right. Thank you, Raymond. And I just want to comment on that for a second. Let's talk about AI for a second. So we all like having fun with AI, making funny pictures, or using it to learn to trade stocks. It has like a huge spectrum, which I'm trying to learn to do right now. So instead of the old fashioned with pick the number three horse at 5 o'clock. And but the thing is that I think we can all agree on this. Like if the other week I had to call Verizon for a minute, and it's like, say your name, spell your name, repeat, 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 right? And then you get connected to someone, it's the wrong department, and you wait 30 minutes and you got to do it all over again. And it's and on the one hand, it saves time, it saves money for the big companies. On the other hand, how frustrating is it? It's nice when I want to put something into my phone. There are a lot of online banks now that you can work with, but as soon as you have a problem, there's no one that you can call. To get through to someone, you have to go on YouTube or Reddit and learn what is the secret formula to get through to someone. I had this recently. I can't remember who I was calling, but I had to I went on YouTube because there are what you call secret formulas to reach a person. And you watch this 15-minute video, and you're like, and you write it all down, and then finally you're like, da 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 da, to get the secret formula. But wouldn't it be nice if you can just dial 0 like you used to and get through to an operator? They took that away on purpose. And so AI has a lot of value add, but it also has a lot of value subtract. None of us are here at Microsoft or Google. And even they're losing business to companies that offer more of a humane customer service. Even LinkedIn who are the most user-friendly company that exists, are starting to, for premium pricing, you can now talk to someone. So I think AI is becoming too widely used, and I don't think it's going to replace people as a whole, although I hear like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos talking about how 80% of jobs are going to be made redundant, and they probably will be. But are we going to vote for a robot to be president of the United States, or do we want a person that makes decisions based on reasons as opposed to biometrics binary coding that I don't understand? All right. I think it's important that we maintain a humane level, because it's, on the one hand, people love the technology. On the other hand, the second there's a problem, that's how you lose your client. And although I want to take a step back from being on what I call the front of the house side of the business, I still recognize very much so that there's going to be times when people want to speak to the owner, they want to solve a problem, they want to feel better, they want to feel heard, or they want to speak to someone. I was flying back from Delta. I was telling Fiona earlier, I was flying back from Utah the other day, and I had a connecting flight because the flights were all messed up, and the woman was like, "You're traveling with children. We want to help you," and they gave us a direct flight. They just dealt with it. I didn't even have to ask them for it. It's that humane level is the difference between a robot and a person, and I think it's very important that we learn to balance. And I was going to say one more thing on this, and again, I mentioned it a little earlier. For me, I don't like lazy customer service. If I go to someone in retail, like real estate, there's a few people here that understand real estate. If I go to someone in real estate and all they did was go on the MLS, all right, or send me something that I could find myself, why do I need them? I can go on Zillow myself and find a house. I can go on Zillow myself and find an apartment. I want someone who's going to tell me something that I don't know. Someone who's going to tell me a trade secret. Someone who's going to tell me something that's not public knowledge. They understand something. I want that person that's in touch with their business, because throughout all of my experience in real estate and finance and in business in general, right, the reason why people have always been drawn to me, the reason why I've been significantly successful in most of what I've done is because I took the time to understand the problem personally and to solve it personally. And a lot of my clients that I've dealt with over 20 years still very much value that relationship with me. And although we have AI that we can solve a lot of problems, they don't just want us to send them a QR code saying there's your solution. They want to hear that warm-blooded voice that walks them through it. And I think that is a central part of business. Although the internet will change that and AI will change that, I think it's important that we try to maintain it, or we basically give up our role in society. So, having said that, we have Will Hanley here who joined us. Will, would you want to introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure, sure. Hi, Adam. Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm Will Hanley. I have a business called Our Becoming. It's based on neurolinguistic programming and mindset maps. And I was interested in what Maria said about metacognition because that is the highest, from what we understand, it's the highest form of cognition. And with that, you can utilize different mindsets to really get your mind rolling in the right direction. So we solve all kinds of problems when people get stuck, finding out why they're stuck in a business situation, and we give them solutions. And just recently, I found this amazing group called Business Power Tools, and we're adding that. That is an amazing program by Burke Franklin, who I met through another group. And it has every aspect of business that anybody could imagine, and it's very inexpensive to use. Talk about AI. AI basically writes the business plan for you. You put in a little bit of information, and AI gathers all the information you want, all the sources, all the contracts, basically anything you need to run a business. I've never seen anything like it before. So we're working strongly with that. And again, that's basically what we're doing.
So I
Thank
have
you.
I have an interesting comment I would like to say to that. So
Yes.
many years ago, in a galaxy far, far away, when I lived in New York, I used to have an office in the Empire State Building, which for me was a dream. Like as a 12, 13-year-old kid, if you don't remember, our dad bought us this bicycle that had the computerized dash. Fiona, you remember this, right? I used to park it at the bottom of our house. And I remember riding my bike one day, listening to Frank Sinatra singing New York, New York. And as kids, I used to love watching the old black and white movies and fell in love with New York. And it was my dream to live there. And one day in 2000, I had the opportunity and I moved to New York and I opened up an office in the Empire State Building. I'm telling you this because there's a fundamental component to it. The AI is amazing. It's great. But the thing is that I used to have 30 people working for me in that office. And there were kids that used to work for me, they were all in their 20s. And if I took for 30 people, maybe four of them, I never had to coach. I would give them nothing. I would give them no websites. I would give them no apps. I would give them virtually no direction. And these four would go out and kill it. They would bring in money. They would find listings. They would close deals. And I would help them negotiate. I would be, the bad guy, bad cop versus good cop in terms of getting more commission, negotiating the deal. But these four were earners. They made more money individually than the rest of the people that worked with them collectively because they went out to kill. The others would need, let's go back to it, CoStar, Property Sharp, LoopNet, the MLS, right? I forget half of the other listings that were available, so the websites that were available at the time. Now, these were called matching websites. It was like a dating website, but for realtors and clients, tenants and buyers, right? It did all the work for you. It matched. And yet these people couldn't make a single deal. Their lives couldn't make a deal. If their life depended on it, that commission check was the only thing they had in the world. They couldn't find the listing. They couldn't understand the needs of the client. They couldn't do it. And no matter how much advice, training, one of them went to the Trump Academy. We'll talk about that another day. That was quite an interesting experience. They just couldn't learn to think or hustle. You can't teach that. Okay, I would say there. I'm going to quote a very famous TV show that my sister and I used to watch. It was Minder, and we had this character, Arthur Daly, who always reminded Fiona and I of our dad. All right, and he used to say there are two types of people: there are hustlers and there are workers. The hustlers never work, and the workers never hustle. Right, and if you understand mindset. If I understand that Fiona wants to buy a 3-bedroom house with a pool, all right, I'm not going to show her a 5-bedroom house with a pool because she can't afford it. Okay. Or if she wants to buy a 3-bedroom house with a pool, I'm not going to show her a 2-bedroom house with no pool because it's not what she wants. And yet, with all this matching software that was pretty good even back at the time, all right, and I'm talking early 2000s, they still couldn't close the deal. I would cut these people every month for not being winners. And I felt bad, but the reality is the people that can solve that problem don't need any help. Right? The people who can't solve that problem, even with AI, are still not going to solve the problem. Right? And I'm not talking sweepingly, I'm talking significantly, because I've learned that with 35 years of business experience behind me. So AI is very good at showing people how to do something easy, but I have a question for anyone chime in. As a business owner, if you're going to start a business, do you want to write that business plan yourself, think about it, reword it, tweak it, perfect it, understand it, and follow your passion? Or do you want ChatGPT to do it for you and you just follow the instructions like you just bought a table in IKEA?
Well, I don't think that AI will write it for you. AI works with you to find out exactly the kinds of things you're talking about. What is your passion? And you
Yeah,
are actually writing it. But it's the gathering of information that you could use in your business plan. That's one of the main things about it. In 4 seconds or whatever
yeah.
it takes. And so you have more information to utilize to write your business plan. Also, it instead of taking months or weeks or whatever to write your business plan, because doing it yourself is just incredibly difficult. To write a full business plan is almost impossible if you don't have some kind of help. You have an ally, and I think it's wonderful because instead of waiting around to write my business plan, I took 2 hours and wrote a full business plan with this program. And it's for me, it's my idea, it's my program that I'm showing people. But I was able to write it very quickly because of that help.
I will say AI is amazing for business. It is amazing for the business plans, as you said. I'm actually working on a business plan for our new fund that we're launching, and my team and I, all being dinosaurs, are actually doing it ourselves the old-fashioned way. But we will clean it up with AI once it's finished. But I took the view that I'm going to go out there and raise a multi-billion-dollar fund. I wanted to put the groundwork in myself in the narrative, the writing, direction, the thought process. And although I will clean it up with AI, I wanted it to be very much a labor of my love, my legacy project. And I know everyone has that different approach, but I take the view if something is a passion, you want to make it your own. And I know AI can do that, but it's the balance between personality and digital, which is we're on the cuff of that right now, and I'm always going to advocate for more personality, less digital, because it's just who I am as a person. I never want to be in a self-driving car. I always want to be in a car that's got like an accelerator and a brake. But everyone is different. But I do believe in the technology and I'm using the technology. But for me, I think maintaining that personal approach, as you said, it's your idea, it's your creation. It's how we all approach it differently. I now want to take a moment to introduce Fiona. Fiona is my big sister. She has been, I guess you could say, my best friend and supporter and advocate and cheerleader all my life. Despite her good looks, I'm actually the child, the younger one, the baby of the family. But Fiona is helping me launch Smash, and she does all our digital marketing and all our social marketing, and she uses AI for a lot of the marketing that she does. So Fiona, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Fiona Lavender Limited?
Well, basically, I've been working with Adam for a couple of years. I've been in the sales and marketing business for a number of years. I used to work in sales in the water industry, but I've always enjoyed working with people, working in sales and marketing. So because of my passion for sales and for people and do a good service, I thought I'd come on board with Adam and learn about the industry and the business. So I've been with him maybe 4 years, I think, this year, and been really enjoying it. And obviously, I'm learning new things all the time with regards to the finance industry. I find it really exciting because there's so many sides to it, what with finance, mortgages, and crypto and Bitcoin. So there's, because I work in marketing, there's so many different avenues that you can go into, and like you say, with AI, it's fantastic for advertising, but like Adam says, I think it's really important as well to keep that human touch in there, um, along with the AI to put your product across to all different industries to see how you can help and see where their need is.
And Fiona, a lot of the ads that you do for us online, you're making them with AI, correct?
Yes, yes.
Now,
And it's
uh,
really interesting because there's different platforms for AI, and each different platform you get something different out of it. But like the gentleman said, I think it might have been Will, AI comes from what you program it with. So it's basically how you need to be spot on with the terminology. The more information from your own heart and from your own interest that you can explain to AI to produce, the more you can get out of it, the more human that you can actually make it come across with the right coding and the right words and the right sentences. You can get something really good out of it. So I think it's brilliant.
so interestingly enough, I think everyone here agrees that AI played a huge role in business in the year 2026 and ongoing. But moving forward, as we get closer to 2030, which I think is going to be an important time in human history. I think everyone agrees here that a human element is equally, if not more important to, because at the end of the day, our business isn't to machines, our business is to people. And the more we connect with AI, the more we lose connection to people. And I personally believe that it's important to prevent AI from replacing all of us and the world elite trying to figure out how they can get rid of us. I think it's important that we maintain that level of humanity, that we don't try to make everything remote, because we need to keep creating jobs for people so that they can live and buy food and have a home. And we need to maintain the human race. And I think it's very important that those personal relationships that we develop, that interaction that we have with people, just like this, the few of us today are talking right now. First time I'm meeting all of you. I'm not sure, Will, if you and I have spoken for sure. I think we have actually. And
I don't think so.
it's this is what it's about, getting to know each other and learn about
Mhm.
how we can help each other understand the matrix or the labyrinth of what's ahead of us, because we know that AI is going to do more and more and more. Um, we know that now is the time to jump onto using AI to maximize every opportunity of our business. But if we lose touch with our humanity, if we lose touch with that personality, then we become like everyone else. And I'll give you a great example of that. I'm English by birth. Well, not, yeah, but hey, by birth, and I've grown up in England, and I've been in America for 26 years of my life, this time around, more as a child. So I consider myself actually more American than English. But what I've learned from my English roots and what I've learned from being in America for so long is what builds a business is relationships. What builds a business is character. people come to me because they remember my accent. They come to me because they thought I was nice. They come to me because they thought I was a dick. They come to me for whatever the reason is that they needed, and they respect you accordingly. When we all become the same, like for example, if you go to the car show anywhere in the country today, where it used to be you knew every brand just by the way it looks. Now, if you park every car next to each other, you still can't tell the difference. All right, if you put a Ferrari and a Corvette and a McLaren or anything else of a supercar level, and you park them next to one another and take away the batches, watch how many people don't know the difference. And that's on the luxury level. On the irregular level, they're all the same. Like all the SUVs, Chevy, GMC, everything is the same. If we all become the same in regards to how we develop our business and the way we develop it towards people, we won't be any different. We won't stand out. And if I, if my goal is anything here with Adam Cohen today, is I want to embrace AI, but I want to advocate for the humanity, the human side of business, because it's what makes us different. If we all just blend into ChatGPT, Fiona GPT, Melissa GPT, Dan GPT, and we all do the same thing, then we've done the same thing as the car industry. We've basically become somewhat redundant, and we're all the same, and we're not benefiting our customers or ourselves. We're turning ourselves more into the digital era, too much so. And if you look at, I saw something on Instagram, it made me think the other day. It said, why do we become so colorblind? If we look at the average kitchen, it's black or white. If we look at the average car, it's black, white, or silver. If we look at what am I wearing today? Black. What's Fiona wearing today? Black. What's Melissa wearing today? Black. What's Maria wearing today? Black. Right? My point is that we've lost our color. And if we look at video or Instagram was like from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, there was yellows and there was blues and there was green and there was orange. And something, it gave a little sparkle to what we're doing. Now we're all kind of looking the same, blending the same. And in order to be successful in anything that we do in business, we need to stand out. And to stand out, we need to add color and we need to add personality and finesse. And it's like, there are people that we see on TV all the time. Donald Trump, love him or hate him, he stands out. Elon Musk, love him or hate him, he stands out. Mr. Wonderful, love him or hate him, he stands out. Like, what's going to make our businesses successful is standing out. And we stand out through our personality. And I think that is, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as someone who has highs and lows and highs and lows, I think standing out is the most important thing. And we will do that with personality. So I embrace AI, I celebrate AI. I want to learn so much more about AI than I already do. But I think that as we're working on developing our companies, and I hope that you guys will come back again next time to continue this conversation, and I hope we will have more people as well. I'm actually quite surprised we have this many people, take the truth. So I just want to say thank you everyone for joining. But I hope that we will identify that and use that, because with personality and character and human aspects, people still want to deal with this. It's like if you have Google and Microsoft and LinkedIn, and next thing you know, tomorrow a new company opens up, and if you don't like them, you can call them up and yell at them. Everyone's going to want to go with that company because there's that human element. Who gets any joy of yelling at a robot? It doesn't get upset. It doesn't get angry. It doesn't want to help you. It doesn't care. And if we want to solve a problem, someone needs a personal touch. That robot doesn't understand. It's just telling you yes or no. Just like when you apply for a loan, it's yes or no. There's no let me negotiate. So I hope that thank you, Will. I hope that that is something that we can take away from this conversation today as something we all agree on. So I had a few ideas I wanted to talk about today, but I think we focused on that a lot, and I think that's good because I think that it helped. Does anyone have anything they would like to add to agree with or disagree with what I said? Open to anyone?
May I just jump in real quick?
Mhm.
It's about you were mentioning about the business plan and the human touch.
Mhm.
I used to be a business plan writer. So I did a few business plans for a few clients, and one of the plans that I did, it took me like 3 months working with, the business owner. And it was successful because after like a year and a half or so, she was able to reach $1 million already.
Mhm.
But the beauty of doing it by yourselves, as you, Adam, you do it by yourself, is because you can see, you learn throughout the process of developing the plan. The other thing too is you see every factor and every detail about the business, every corner and every crevice of it. It takes time, it is true. But the beauty of it is, I can't remember who said it, but in preparation, I think it's Zig Ziglar, is when you prepare, 90% of the time for success is done with preparation. And in business planning, you're preparing. So after that, decision making will be faster because you pretty much know the ins and outs, ups and downs of the business. It's like a box. You know everything about each corner of the business. So when along the way, during the journey, you can quickly make decisions or improve, little things that may have some errors there because you know it. The passion is in there, the knowledge is in there. And also when you collaborate with people, then it enhances it. So I truly believe too that yes, it's good that we have AI, but if we do the business plan at the start with your own thought process, and if you collaborate with people with like we're doing now, brainstorming, it has more effect, it has more depth, and it starts a good foundation. Another thing too, if I might add with AI, the result or the answers that AI will give you, it depends on the prompts that we put in. If we cannot give the right question to the machine, it will not give us the correct answer or the answer that we expect. So that's one of the things that I was, told about that is that yes, you need to know, you have to have an idea of what to ask and a good prompt to get the information that you need.
Okay.
So that's a little thing that I'd like to add there.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to jump in? Dan, you were sitting quite quietly.
I'll chime in. As I listen to this, I'm more in your camp, even though I know AI can help, in blind spots and gaps in businesses. But again, I think there's an energy, a vigor, there's something that you create within that's not tangible through AI. If you want to go like metacognition, you want to go different levels of it, it's like vibrational and like the energy that you manifest within you put out there. And I feel like that's how you attract the ideal clients. And the times that I've tried to put AI into certain parts of the systems or responses or social media posts, I don't feel like it's as connectable. I mean, again, it can help build, but I don't think it has that personal touch. That's what you can really feel through, like you said, the general experience of talking to somebody, through having a conversation, right? And those deeper nuances that if everything becomes the same, like you said, like you remember Mr. Wonderful, you remember Trump because of their uniqueness. That's where, again, I think I like what you're saying on that, but I also agree with AI part of it. But if it doesn't come from a foundational core of something within your heart, your intelligence, AI again, I've done this. It just waters things down, and I don't think it attracts the targets that I'm looking for. It takes away my own intuition and puts it in a logical, like, what is the right framework versus, well, what's the right framework is what I feel, what I believe, not try to make it same as everybody else's. And that's what I feel like sometimes AI does. It blends you in
It does
versus
exactly.
stands out.
All right. Melissa.
So there's quite a few points that I would like to touch on, but I'm just going to stick to the basics. And with AI itself and business plans, I think that would have been the traditional way to do a business plan, is to have it all mapped out. And I will say right now, if you have it all mapped out, then you are already behind the game, because it is evolving at such a rapid pace that if we are not allowing what it is that we are receiving in real time, then we are stuck in an old paradigm, and that old paradigm is going to swallow us and eat us and gobble us up. And then we're going to be digested and you know what out. And but the other point that I wanted to make is when it comes to programming of the brain, and so many people are like, okay, I've got to adopt this program. This is what I'm going to do. And this is not saying that neuro-linguistic programming didn't have its place back in the 90s, back in the whatever else. But if we're talking the way that the human brain is programmed and the evolution of the human brain loves information, and that information does not exist without coherence of the heart, body, and mind. And so without that coherence of the heart, especially that intuitive process that we as human beings use, that leaves us in a huge gap, not open to receive what we are supposed to receive in those moments. And so I think that the difference between the subconscious programming of the way that business did look and where we are headed is night and day, even than it was in December. So
Melissa, you're
that's all I
completely
have to
right.
add.
I agree with everything that Melissa just said. All right, I agree with everything Dan and Maria said. We're running out of time. We have a few more minutes. Raymond, do you want to chime in?
Just to say that this has been great. I mean, we've touched on what I think is pretty important. I mean, it is a force to be reckoned with, regardless whether you want to or not. I mean, it's been great for me. I use AI. I definitely have had some fun with it. I can use it to personalize some of my messages. Um, but it is true. I mean, if you let it can take over. It can, well, not take over, but it can water you down. It can water down your message, and it can certainly make your presentation generic, I guess. But yeah, this has been great. I will definitely be back if invited.
I have a question. So I came up with the name Business Brainstorm for this think tank. Because I didn't want to call it think tank because this is what everyone else calls theirs, or round table. I wanted to call it something different. Do you think I got that name from AI, or do you think I thought of it?
I think you thought of it.
Well, it's nothing new.
I,
Before,
no, I
but
was talking to
I
Mehedi, and we were coming up with an idea to call this think tank. And in about the New York minute that we came from the idea of doing it, I came up with the name Business Brainstorm to call it, and I liked it. It just rolled off the tongue nicely. See, that's my British New Yorker style, right? Nicely, and and we rolled with it. And it's I'm sure we're going to talk more about AI in the future. But next week when we get on this call. I think we covered today AI. I think next week we're going to talk about new projects and blockchain is my goal for next week's conversation. So we had it on the books for an hour today, but next week I want to talk about startups, about starting a new company, and I want to talk about how blockchain plays a role in 2026 as we move forward, because I think just like Bitcoin has become a major contender, the stock market has changed, AI has changed, blockchain is another way forward that we need to be aware of, be talking about, and how that can help us grow our businesses and how we can use it to our advantage. So I want to thank everyone today for coming. Would you please, before we hang up, would you please put your name, phone number, and email into the group chat so that Mehedi can take down that information, and we'll create an email thread so that I'm not going to send you guys emails every day. I don't want to drive anybody crazy, but we will send out once a week the invitation. You guys will be on there. You're welcome to attend anytime. If there's something that you guys would like to talk about on the on this think tank, if there's something you would like to talk about, by all means make a suggestion. We'll think about it, and I'm happy to welcome ideas for future conversations. I welcome that. I want to thank everyone for coming today and for your time and for your input. And it was definitely nice to meet you. Raymond, I'm pretty sure you and I have spoken I think I've spoken with you, Darren, as well at some point. I don't know. I have like 30,000, 34,000 followers on LinkedIn. I try to interact with people as much as I can. Sometimes I have one of my assistants respond to people if I can't, but I try to do it mostly myself. I like to interact with people for whatever it is, good or bad. And Mehedi, did you catch all that information? Did you got everyone's info?
Yeah, I already get it.
All right, thank you very much. So this was episode 1 of Business Brainstorm with Adam Cohen, me, your host. Thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed listening to you, speaking with you, sharing ideas, and I really enjoyed everything that you all had to say. I think this was a great input, and I hope it helped everyone, and I look forward to speaking with you guys more. And if you guys want to reach out to me directly for any questions, conversation, share ideas, I'm always happy for that. If you guys want to take down my information, I'll share it with you right now. All right. My cell phone is 310-755 5251. I'll be honest, I'm pretty bad at answering it, but very good at following up with people. I generally will respond to people the same day unless I'm absolutely slammed. You know, my email is adam@adamcohentoday.com. That is the best email to reach me at. And again, I generally respond to people if I can the same day. I pretty much work from 6 in the morning till midnight every day, so I try to, accommodate absolutely everyone if I can. All right. So
It's been good, Adam. Thank you. I enjoyed it. It's good to have a get together.
yes, it is. It's always nice to see my sister as well. Do we look alike?
It's really nice to see everybody here anyway. Really nice. Thank you, everybody.
Do we look alike?
Who's the
No?
better looking one?
Who's the better? Fiona's definitely the better looking one, 100%.
You sound alike.
We sound alike.
Oh, amazing. Thank you.
She used to hold me in her arms when I was a baby and feed me my bottle. So I can say that Fiona's definitely known me longer than anyone, apart from my mum, of course. All right. And Chesky, I think, just joined us, but he's running a little late. Hi, Chesky, how are you?
Great. I just saw your invite.
Oh, you missed it. We're just wrapping up. We had a great conversation, but please join us next week, same time, 5 o'clock Eastern
Absolutely.
Standard Time. And if you have any ideas before then, could you just put into the group chat your name, email, and phone number so that Mehedi can share with you the invite ahead of time, and that way you're not behind the scene. But if everyone has a couple of minutes, we can introduce Chesky so that he can not feel left out, as he was kind enough to join. So, Chesky, just tell us very quickly who you are, what you do, and welcome to the group.
Hi. I've been doing mortgages since 1997. So I work with a lot of investors, self-employed people, business owners, and fix and flips. So we're direct lender. I'm licensed in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and Florida. And I just like to connect with people.
Well, there's some great people on this call today, and I hope they'll come back again next week, and I hope you will too. And today we were speaking about AI and startups. Next week we're going to be talking about new projects and blockchain. And we'll also talk some about real estate. I myself, I have a real estate background, real estate and finance. I think you know that. So we'll be covering some more about real estate and finance as we continue these conversations, but also we'll be talking more about the economy, business, technology, humanity, politics, how it affects what we're doing, the world today, and all of these interesting topics because they affect all of us. And it's great if we can learn and understand them and help us together navigate the path moving forward, because I think it's challenging to understand all of it in 2026, especially as things advance and we get closer towards 2030, where I think we all know there's going to be some very big changes. So Chesky, thank you for joining us a little late, but you're very welcome.
No problem. What's the goal? What's the goal of the meeting? What's the setup like in general?
The general goal is to learn from each other and to navigate what's good for business, what's bad for business, what's good for relationships, how we can grow together, how we can help each other's businesses, refer absolutely, and to basically communicate the world is changing, business is changing, real estate is changing, finance is changing. You and I could talk more about that one-on-one. And the goal is to kind of understand the different opinions, mindsets, understandings, benefits, risks, concerns, and to talk about them openly here on this think tank.
Great.
And I'm sure you could offer a lot of wisdom.
Definitely will try. Thank you.
All right, Todoro again. All right, so thank you everyone for joining us today. It's been my pleasure to host you all. I wish you all a wonderful rest of your week, a successful rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you all guys and hopefully more next Monday at 5 o'clock Eastern.
Great.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Nice to meet you
Thank you.
all.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.